Welcome back to another bare knuckle episode of making this epic coop even more epic. I am about to start the project that I literally built this coop around. One of the episodes that I've been excited to make for so long. I know you guys are going to love it. I almost want to keep it a secret, but let me show you the star of this week's episode. Like I said, I literally built this coop around housing this bad boy. This is the star of this week's episode, 55-gallon, food-safe plastic barrel. Used to hold soy sauce. I've rinsed it out well. We're going to get into turning this into one of the most epic features of this coop.
A 55-gallon, auto-filling, freeze-proof, automatic chicken waterer.
Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name is Ben Jackson. Today I'll be your building a chicken coop guide for this episode of The Art of Doing. First thing I have to do with this is make some holes in it. This is a scary part. I'm going to make an access hole in the top. I'm going to make 2 holes for 1-inch bulkhead fittings, 2 holes for 3/4-inch bulkhead fittings, and I'm going to thread on an adapter that threads onto the factory threads of this barrel for my most important connection. Now, I already drilled my hole through the floor of the coop. If you can see up there, I've lined it up pretty well with the connector that I put on the rain barrel. So I'm going to pipe down PVC, pipe into the coop, and I'll give you some shots of how that's going to go. One thing that is going to be important here, and I didn't do this when I was doing my feeder project, and I wish I had, is to line up the PVC pieces first, and I make a line where I like it, then take it apart and glue it up, because I need to make sure that when I glue this up, this line that my thumb is on here, and apologize for the tight quarters, so the funky camera work. This line that my thumb is on has to be flowing downhill. There has to be a slight angle on it. Got plenty. That's tight. Might have to do the shutoff valve a little bit further down. Alright, so next I'm going to do a cleanout valve. And this is 2-inch PVC stock that I'm using here. So that'll go in there, this will go in here. Let's glue this up. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Teflon tape on the cleanout valve threads. You want to go against the threads with the tape so that when you're screwing it on, it doesn't unthread the tape. This will make sense. I can't really show it to you here, but that'll make sense when you're putting it on, and you'll see if you do it the wrong way, as the tape just kind of binds up on itself. And you don't need a lot of tape. One wrap around will do ya. Alright, I made my first silly mistake under here. I wanted to put the shutoff valve, then the cleanout valve, but my shutoff valve was going to hit on this beam. So I thought I could just switch them. But that's crazy, because if I was to open this shutoff valve, this cleanout valve, and this water tank was full, 55 gallons of water would shoot out here. I need a shutoff valve before the cleanout valve to turn off the water coming there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the shutoff valve that way, which will actually be more convenient for me. I'm going to put it in the coop so I can shut it off from inside the coop without having to crawl under here. So what I did is I just took my long piece of PVC. I'm going to glue this in and get me out from underneath here and into the coop proper before we do the next set. So let's get this glued up. Just going to put a little bit of weight support here. Now I'm going to put the shutoff valve. This will be in a nice place where I can actually reach it. Beautiful. Now a nice long piece. It's a 3'6" section right there. And that's where I'm going to have the nipples for them to drink out of. Now we're going to have a cleanout valve after a shutoff valve, imagine that. This is already sagging too much for me, so I have a couple of hooks that just bang in with a hammer and a nail. Make sure I'm maintaining my down angle flow here. Let's Teflon this cleanout valve. Oh, I did it the wrong way after I just finished talking about it. Now I actually want to turn this a little closer to the end wall for my next bit. This is a reducer valve. I'll show you what we're going to do with this. What we're going to do here is take a 3/4 inch brass fitting that I can hook a hose up to and thread this into here. Put a little Teflon on it. So now, if I need some running water in the coop, I can hook right up to this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put another cleanout valve right here. I'm going to put together the end of this pipe. And I think I'm going to have the same two supports on this lower tier. I'm going to snap those on as well so I can just pop them in. We are at the end of the run that I just put together. Cleanout valve, reducer valve, reducing 2 inch to 3/4. And now I'm going to screw in 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer. It looks like this. 3/4 threads on the outside, 1/2 inch threads on the inside. And it's attached to a small pump that is 1/2 inch threads. Let's get this screwed in. That my angle is still good. It's still going downhill. So water will come down from the barrel to some nipples in here, down to turn back around, still downhill to this little motor. And the reason we need to go downhill is we don't want any air sitting in this motor. Once this thing gets air in it, it's not going to circulate water well. So we need to make sure that any of the air bubbles flow back up towards the barrel. So we maintain that. Let me cement this motor in. I'm just going to tack it right into this 4x4 here. Not going anywhere because I've already supported this pipe. So now, another 1/2 inch to 3/4. I've already Tefloned this as well. Tefloned the motor and this connector. This is a high pressure braided washing machine water line with 3/4 inch threads. I'm just going to thread this right on here. And that will be my return back to the barrel. This is the other end of that hose. We're going to attach it to the barrel with this bulkhead fitting. Bulkhead fitting's got a rubber gasket for the inside piece. It's got threads to have this piece sandwiched down on it. and then it's got inside threads to fit something onto it. And if you remember, I cut a hole in the top of the barrel so my arm can reach in here. And one thing you have to remember about bulkhead fittings is they actually thread on the wrong way. They thread on lefty-tighty. It's really difficult to get used to. And that's because when you thread something in here, you're going to be threading it regular righty-tighty, and you don't want to loosen up the bulkhead fitting. Because it's got that rubber gasket on the inside, I don't need to silicone it, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a turn with the monkey wrench. And then I made a quick 3/4 thread to 1/2 inch pipe to 1/2 inch 90 to 1/2 inch pipe to 3/4, so that when I attach this, I'm not attaching it like this and putting an undue strain right here. Kind of just drop attach. Next, I'm going to install another hose bib on a 3/4 inch bulkhead fitting. I'm going to put this right here so that if I need water while I'm outside of the coop, I can tap a hose onto this. This is going to install the exact same way. Friendly bee, please don't sting me. Let's tape it up. That looks wonderful. Next bulkhead we're going to install is a 1-inch bulkhead. And that's going to go right here. And then we're going to do 1-inch threads to 1-inch pipe. What this is going to be for, this is going to be okay, ladies, I'm trying to record. This is going to be an overflow. So if the barrel fills up all the way to the top, you saw that I cut a hole in the top. I don't want this water spilling out and ruining the coop. So if the water gets up to this height, I'm just going to have a drain hose coming right out of this. So what I'm going to do is do 2 45s to get me to run somewhat downhill that way. And since this is overflow, and I don't care if there's air bubbles in it, as long as this is lower, it'll siphon out. And I cut a couple of little sleeves to fit in between the fittings. Oh, this is scary, folks. If I don't line this up right, but I already have it glued, I feel like I'm going to regret this. All right, this is the mark to come out into the coop, the famous hole saw. When you're doing a hole saw, the smooth side is going to be the side that you're sawing on. So I poked a hole through the center of this hole. I'm going to go around to the coop and saw in to make this side the rough side and the finished coop side come out nice and not splintered. Look at that. Oh, that fits perfectly. Let's glue up this side. I know it's anal, but I like to have the writing away from me. And let's go ahead and mark these. Perfect. I'm just going to throw some quick supports on this. Here's the other side. And that's the stub coming out. As you can see, it just kind of pours right into the run area. Looks kind of raw, but as you can guess, your boy has a plan for this too. Stay tuned. Next step is to get the water from the gutter into the barrel. And as you can see, I get quite a lot of leaves up here. So I have to do something to make sure that the leaves don't come down the gutter and into the barrel. So I clean the leaves out of the gutters, and if you watch my gutter install video, and I hope you did, you remember these gutter braces. They have these little slots in the side, and this gutter guard has that little lip edge that tucks right into it and snaps in on the back side. I'm kind of up on a ladder, so I'm not going to hold this for you, but it snaps in the back side, then you push it in and snap this lip in the front side. So I've got the gutter installed down that way, the gutter guard installed down that way, and down this way. I've got the last piece cut to size, and before I install this last piece, if you remember, this is where the middle, where the gutters meet, I'm going to throw in this foam piece, just as a little extra added protection in case any leaves sneak by, and I can pop this small piece off and clean it by hand if I run into any problems. Now that that's done, we got to transition from gutter to pipes. So I got this cool attachment. It's actually used for the base of a gutter system off a house going to an underground 4-inch pipe. So that's going to go here, and then I'm going to cap this off there, and then put a nipple here that'll feed into a pipe to go into the coop. So let me get that done. So here's the final product. Bulkhead, I shaved it down and siliconed it. Connector piece to the cap piece, and a 1-inch screwed into the bulkhead. Now let's get this hooked up to the gutter. So this is my next piece. Piece of 1-inch to 90 to another 90, offset just a little bit to flow downhill to another piece of 1-inch to a 1-inch shut-off valve. So I can come right from the gutter, shut off the water into the barrel. From here, I need to make a cut through my hardware cloth. And I'm scared about this. Okay, I've got this dry fit up with a smaller piece of pipe so I can maneuver it around and see where the hole needs to be. And this is about right for where this hole is, because it's going to go in at an angle and then turn. So I'm pretty confident with this. That is about as perfect as I can get. Deadly accuracy. I decided to add a cleanout valve to this. This coming off the gutter and heading into the run. I'm going to put a cleanout valve right here, just to catch any debris coming out of the gutter, just to make sure. I couldn't find a traditional cleanout valve in 1-inch. I don't know if they make it, it's so small, but I just got a threaded 1-inch PVC piece with a threaded plug, and this essentially makes a cleanout valve, just not quite as slim. I'm going to glue this on and then dry fit my length of pipe going into the coop. This looks about perfect. This lines up with the hole. A little bit of a down bend. I'm going to go ahead and glue this up. One quick tip, if you're doing this like I am and it's going through your hardware cloth, only glue one side of this piece together. You're going to have to feed this through the hardware cloth and then glue it on one side or the other, because this fitting and this fitting will be too big to pass through. For some reason, this feels like the biggest moment of truth here. The bee tried to fly in my mouth right there. That's too easy. I'm a little speechless. This went together too well. Okay, next step is the piece inside the coop. I just have a temp piece in there. Just kind of mock it. I have to sit something like that. All we're going to have in here is a length going all the way to the barrel, and then a 90 to drop it into the barrel. So let me get this measured and glued. Well, that's perfect. Couple of supports, even though it won't be carrying much weight. But the key component to this is the water not freezing. And I betcha most people skip a really crucial step in this process, and I'm going to do it absolutely last, so stay tuned. Make sure you don't crack these pipes that you spent all this time installing. As I was building the coop, I buried an electrical line, and I mounted a quad electrical on the inside of the storage. I drilled a small hole to the outside, you can see right there, and also mounted an outside quad. Right down here is the feed to the pump, and this just plugs in to the power supply. Just going to take an indoor-outdoor power cord, extension cord. Now I have motorcycles going by. Before you guys hit my comment section with it, yes, I believe I have planned to have my neighbor running his leaf blower this whole time. Perfect timing. The motorcycles are gone. Let's keep going. So this is Farm Innovations Ice Chaser brand ice melter, 120 volt. This is just going to go right inside the access panel that I cut out at the top, and that'll sit at the bottom of the barrel. So this is the extension cord that I'm running off the pump power supply, and this is the power cord from the water heater, the ice melter. Now I've got this 3-in-1 indoor-outdoor multi-prong. This will allow me to get multiple outlets inside while being plugged in outside. I'm getting water out of here, no problem. Let's test the only component I haven't tested yet, the pump. Look at that little trickle. That's beautiful. Folks, concept works, everything works. I am so happy. Now let's get to the absolute last necessary bit for this whole system to work. Is this thermostatically controlled outlet. What you do is you plug this in to a power source, and this outlet only turns on if it's under 38 degrees, turns back off at 50 degrees. If the air temperature that this reads is so cold that it's close to freezing, it'll turn the electricity on to here. So what we're going to do, unplug that, plug this in, and plug this into here. Now, because it's nice and warm out right now, if we go and look, there should be nothing coming out of the pump. And as you can see, the pump is off. The last tricky part is I fear that some people would plug this all into here, even with the thermostatically controlled outlet. But you have to remember that if you plug inside your coop or run or anything enclosed, it's going to be warmer in here than it is on the outside air. So I needed to have an outside outlet that would get the actual air temperature and not the inside of the coop air temperature, which would be a lot warmer than the outside air temperature. Just always remember to practice compassion, practice kindness, practice humility. Thanks for helping me practice the art of doing.